Welcome to the Peachtree Morning Show by DCI. It's a wise way to start the day. Hope you enjoy.
Good morning, everybody. Today is Thursday, the 28th of May, and you are at the Peachtree Cafe on Zoom. Good morning, Keshe Michael. Thank you for inviting us. Hola, Brian. Hola, to
Hola, Ana.
Mexico. And my name is Anna. I am living in the UK, and I'm very happy this morning to host this speech tree that has a very serious question from Latvia. A question that personally it was in my mind 3 years ago when I was at my first training at the DCI. And I didn't have the courage to ask it because it's so serious and it's so personal that I really didn't have the courage to ask it. So now we have the opportunity to listen to this great question and to try to give a useful answer. Let's hear it out.
Hi guys, my name is Agnia and I'm from Latvia. My question is about death. I know it's something inevitable, but if the pen is right and if I'm responsible for everything that happens to me, how am I responsible when a family member or a relative or a friend passes away? What seeds have caused this to happen in that given moment? Thank you.
Great question. And Agnia, really congratulations for your courage to ask this type of question that will for sure help a lot of people, because I am sure that the majority at one point after they listen about the pen, they are getting this question, is inevitable. Is inevitable, like like Agnia said. And when I was thinking about this question, some funny thing came into my mind. It's a saying with nothing is more certain than death and taxes, right?
Yeah.
So,
I think taxes are more certain.
what did you say, Geshe Michael?
Taxes are more certain.
Yeah, so because it's so inevitable and certain, we must ask ourselves this question at one point on our journey. Yeah, so I would like to give the floor to Brian. Yeah, we start with Brian. Brian, what do you think about this? Did you ever ask yourself this? What's your viewpoint on this topic?
Well, first of all, it's a pretty heavy question, as you mentioned, and it's a question that is so full, so charged of emotion. But at the same time, we need to attack this question from the logical point. So I think that before we start, everyone who's seeing this Peachtree Morning Show and this episode, and everyone who feels the need to know the answer to this question, set your mind, set your emotions, and try to check out this episode with logic. That's the first thing. The second thing is, of course, as you mentioned, it could seem like that is inevitable. But as everything else, maybe it could come from your mind. So I don't know. I'm still not that good understanding the emptiness of things, but luckily for us, we have an expert who is Geshe Michael. What could you say, Geshe Michael?
Well, I have okay, old men like to tell stories, okay? So I have a story. When you do your Geshe examination, you do about 3 weeks of debating. And it's almost 1,000 monks will attack you for 3 weeks. also into the night, you know, most of the day and into the night. And before that, you have to pass your geshe examination at your local branch of the college. There are 12 branches of the monastery. They are about 600 years old, like Oxford in the UK. And so we will have examination from our, our the people that we live with first. So my branch of the college is called Gyerong, and the senior lama in our branch is Pabonko Rinpoche, number number three, and so we debated this question. Actually, I was the examiner for his geshe, so I asked him the same question. You know, this is the exact question. I said, you know, if I see a person die in my life, then is it coming from me? And he said, yes, it is coming from you. And then I said, well, is it my fault? You know, did I kill this person? You know, if the seed was planted by me and I have to see this person die, like my mother or other people close to me, then am I killing them? Am I such a bad person, you know? And he laughed, you know, and he said, no, you don't understand, you know. Then he showed me the pen, you know. He said, don't forget the pen, you know. You see your mother die, or you see your sister die, or something like that. But what do they see? Don't think you are so important that your seed will control what they think, you know, what they see. Mm-hmm. And maybe they are seeing something very beautiful, you know. Maybe the angel came and took them to the heaven or something. You don't know, you see. It's like the dogs had a meeting. And the one dog said, oh, you can write with this thing, you know. And all the other dogs said, nah, you're crazy, you know, you're so stupid. This is a chutoy, you know. So what the other person sees, what Pabonko Rinpoche taught me, we don't know. We don't know what the other person is seeing. We can see from our side that they died. But first of all, it's not your fault. You didn't kill them or something like that, okay? What they see is maybe something very beautiful. We don't know. From my side, though, and I ask you guys a question, maybe Anna, is it possible from my side, I can plant a seed not to see people die? Is that possible?
I am sure it's possible, because what I learned with the seed system is that everything is possible if you're planting the seeds. You need to find the seed to
so
plant.
What's a seed? Now you got yourself in trouble.
It happens. Was the seed that would force me to see people not die?
Yeah.
First thing that comes into my mind is to protect life.
Yeah, nice. Yeah.
But the question that comes to my answer is, okay, what does it mean if I am a vegan my whole life? This means that I will not see death anymore? Yeah, so that would be my own objection to my own answer.
I think that, of course, protecting life is an important seed to don't see other people die, because people is coming from us. But this seed that I'm talking about, this other seed, could be something even in the DCI system. We call it touching the diamond world, right? So one of the things that the old book say is that one of the ideas of about how we see the world is thinking that we have the control of the things that happen around us, and thinking that let's go with our body, thinking that if I think lift your hand, raise your hand, I will raise my hand. I think that I have the control of my hand, but to be honest, there will be a point in which I will try to say raise your hand and I won't be able to do it. So in the DCI system, and please, Geshe Michael, Anna, correct me if I'm wrong, but if you get to touch the diamond world, to really um, perceive or see how the pen is not coming from you, really, not logically, then a bunch of stuff could happen because the way you see the world is totally different and your life won't be never be the same. So maybe that seed could also help to not see people dying. I
Yeah.
don't know if I'm correct. I'm just thinking.
Yeah,
What do you
and
think?
I think that this was the answer that Geshe Michael was looking for the seed of seeing people not die, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so we got the answer. I would like to add something from my personal experience. Because yes, Brian, we have learned that this should be the big goal of our lives, to touch the diamond world that completely transform our realities. But until there are a lot of things to do. Yeah, and I really like the practical small things that make me advance on my journey towards the biggest goals that we might have. And one of the things is that when I had the same question, I didn't think that I am guilty. I didn't feel the guilt, but I am sure that a lot of people might fall into this trap, because, and I think it's a trap of not really understanding what emptiness is all about, not really understanding the pen story. And we have learned when Brian and myself went to the Sedona College of International Management, and we have studied the True Innovation course, level 9. We have studied there about the 6 worldviews that are like a ladder of understanding. And at the top of the ladder is the really, really correct worldview, that touching the diamond world and understanding what we are talking here about. Yeah, but until there are some other levels. And the first level, for example, is that everything ends. Everything that starts must end. And if we are thinking about this, we know it, yeah? We are born, and at one point death is inevitable and life ends. Another worldview would be that half of it is coming from me and half of it is coming from the pen. From what I understood, for example, yeah, the pen is coming from myself, but there is a color there and there is a shape there, yeah. And my luminous image, my seed, makes that shape, that long shape and red color that you see at Geshe Michael, yeah, makes it a pen and not a cookie, for example.
I'd rather have a cookie.
Yeah. Yeah, so applying this to my experience, and I don't want to become dark right now and morbid. Yeah, I've seen my mother die in 20 minutes like that in my face, basically. Yeah, I had those seeds, unfortunately. Yeah, I had those seeds to see my mother die in front of me. I think that it would make me crazy to think it's coming from me 100%, which the highest schools of philosophy are saying. Yeah, this doesn't help me at the level that I am right now. And I believe that the seed system is a system that is meant to help us, not to make us crazy. So if we are not ready for some information, I personally go a step back. Yeah. And what really calmed me down is the fact that, yes, I had the seeds to see my mother die, and my mother had the seeds to die. Yeah. 50-50. And another worldview is what Geshe Michael said earlier. Yeah. It's called somebody might find it pleasant. Yeah. For me, it's a tragedy. for those who see their loved one die, it's a tragedy that you cannot describe. Yeah. But do we know how that person, maybe it's pleasant, just like Geshe Michael said, we don't know. Yeah. So my personal advice is to study deeply the seed system, because when we are studying, we get answers. We get deeper and deeper answers that help us really understand what the pen story is about, because it's much more complicated than it seems. That's my opinion.
For sure.
I think
Brian, what is
I think also one more thing that I would say is, you know, when I learned all these things from my teacher, for example, okay, I was studying with a Mongolian teacher, Mongolian Geshe. My teacher went to Europe for a trip, and so he said, this other Geshe is going to teach you for a few weeks. And he taught me Abhidharma for a few weeks. It was very wonderful. And he gave me an old clock he had in his room. He gave it to me, you know, and it was electric. And I brought it back to our house. I was living with my teacher. And we didn't know there are many, many roaches inside the clock. And slowly they spread through the whole house, you know.
Oh my God.
And so, you know, of course, I grew up in America. We will spray the roaches, we will kill them, you know. But I was studying about death. And I'm thinking, well, I don't want to plant seeds to see people die. I want to plant the opposite seeds. So I asked my teacher, you know, what can we do? You know, we cannot kill them. And he said, I have a plan, you know. So every night, he will wake up at 2 o'clock in the morning, because the roaches like to play in the kitchen at 2 o'clock in the morning. And he put the garbage bag on the floor, and he put 1 spoon of dog food in the middle. And all the roaches will come, you know, before he goes to sleep, he puts it there, and then they will come. And then he will come in quickly, turn on the light, pick up the bag, and go outside and put them outside, you know. And in the winter, he made a warm place for them so they won't die in the winter, you know. And I thought, oh wow, this is too much work, you know. It took him several months. But finally, hundreds and hundreds of roaches he took out. And something interesting, they never came back. We never had roaches again. I was with him for 30 years. And they never one roach came back. And I think he found the correct seed, not to kill, you see, not to kill. And so I think we shouldn't go crazy, you know, like, okay, I drive a car in Arizona in the summer, I will kill some bugs by accident, you know, and it's okay. You shouldn't go crazy. But if there's a small way you can respect life, try not to eat meat. Or if you really eat a lot of meat, try to eat only a couple days a week or something like that. And respect. Every living being wants their life. Every living being wants to live. Nobody likes to die. Even roaches don't like to die, I can tell you. He has a nickname for me. He says, I am the king of the roaches, you know. And so I think respect life. Yeah, respect life. Yeah. Even little life.
Especially the little life.
Yeah.
We are at the end of this morning show, a very heavy morning show, but
Yeah.
I had fun, really. It was an enjoyable discussion on a very serious topic. And I would like to invite you to make a short summary, one practical thing that we can do whenever we are in a situation like that, or a very difficult situation that unfortunately will happen sooner or later to every one of us, to see somebody that we really love at the end of their lives. what can we do not to go crazy with the pen? So not to go on this guilt trip, because we don't go anywhere if we are feeling guilty. That's not the point. Yeah.
Yeah.
So what would be your advice, Brian?
So my advice would be, don't wait until it happens.
Mhm.
Study before it happens. Prepare yourself because it will happen. So keep watching the Peachtree Morning Show. Uh, Stay tuned for the new online courses that Geshe Michael and all the DCI team is making. And I'm not saying this to sell. I'm saying
Yes.
this in order to help you, because if these things will prepare you, and when the time comes, you will be ready. So that would be my advice for you. Geshe
Mm-hmm.
Michael?
Well, my advice, I had a very heavy thing happen to me when I first started to live with my teacher. I think I was 23 years old or something. And I got a phone call that my brother committed suicide. And oh my gosh, I almost go crazy, I went crazy. And, and my teacher, he said something very good to me. He said, okay, your brother passed to another world. He's not dead. Uh, you cannot kill the mind. He just moved to another world. He's in another world now called Bardo, in between birth. And you can talk to him and talk to him. You cannot hear him, but he can hear you. They have special power. So he taught me every day, go in my room, sit quiet for 10 minutes, and remind my brother of all the good seeds he planted. And then that will help him in the journey. So for me, this was extremely helpful. And I kept doing it for years, So talk to them and remind them about the good seeds you saw. What do you think, Anna? What's it?
That's beautiful. What you said right now is the exact advice that I gave a friend of mine yesterday when she told me that her uncle passed away. And I told her this because she told me that when she learned that he died, she felt bad for the life that he has had, and not because he passed away, because he had a very difficult life. And I told her the same thing, and she told me at the end, thank you for saying this to me. She meditates, so she has this practice.
Mhm.
And she told me that really she calmed herself down just thinking about the possibility of this practice. So yeah, it's very good. My suggestion is meditation. My suggestion is especially death meditation, which is a fancy word for what Steve Jobs was doing every morning when he was brushing his teeth. He was telling himself, what are you going to do today if you are dying tonight? And this, I'm doing this for 2 months, something
Mhm.
like that, and really prioritizes your life, and makes your days meaningful and keeps you grounded, because death is inevitable. That's one truth. And the second truth is that we don't know when it's going to happen.
Yeah.
So we must be prepared, right? So that's my practical advice, the toothbrush meditation in the morning.
And I just want to say thank you. First of all, that your name is Agnya, because it means, I guess it means fire, fiery one in Sanskrit. So I think it means the same thing. And I'm very, very happy that the Peachtree Show came to Latvia. And I'm very proud that someone from Latvia is sending questions. So please tell your friends to send questions also.
Great, great.
Yes. And they can send them to seedquestions at diamondcutterinstitute.com. Vertical format, selfie style, maximum 30 seconds. Okay, Agnia? And then they can also send
Music. Spotify playlists. We would love to hear your favorite music from your country. And if you would make a Spotify playlist of about 1 hour and send it to us at musicmix@diamondcutterinstitute.com, we would be very happy to listen to those playlists. And every Friday, we are selecting a winner, a playlist winner of the week that we are going to listen to in the weekend when we do not have, unfortunately, the Peachtree Morning Show. So today is Thursday. Tomorrow we are going to select the next winner. And please, please, please send us your playlist because every week we are selecting one of them. Thank you so much.
And I'd like to thank Anna and Brian. It's you. We've been working 2 weeks together on the Peachtree Show. And to be honest, I didn't know you guys that well before that. I see you, and I know a little bit about you, but now we work together for 2 weeks. And you're amazing. You're amazing teachers. You're amazing to help people. Brian's doing amazing work to help spread all this stuff online. And I'm just very grateful. Anna, I'm very impressed that you're so, I don't know, extremely intelligent and you really understand the system well. And Brian, you're so calm and friendly. And thank you. And I hope you guys will come back to the Peachtree Show.
We hope
please,
that also.
Okay. Thank you guys.
Bye.
Don't go. Where are you going? We
I'm sorry.
the next
Oh,
question.
yeah. The next question. The important thing.
30 more seconds.
Yeah.
Okay.
Hi, Nishla, Ort, and Scott. This is Tobias from Berlin. What seeds did I plant to experience gravity, for instance? Can I plant anti-gravity as well? Thank you.
Wow.
Can I plant anti-gravity as well? Great question.
I'm
Okay.
gonna see that
Very,
episode.
very
Thank you very much. Thank you, Geshe Michael, for inviting us. It has been an honor and a very fun time. And hope to see you back soon in the Peachtree Morning Show. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Thanks for watching today's Peachtree Morning Show. See you next time.